Yo,
Okay, yeah.
yo, yo, yo. Check 1 2. This is Modality, and we with back with EJ, our co-host, for episode
Hello.
2, and we have our little guinea pig slash first guest slash founder, CEO, consultant. This man does it all, and his name is Nick Payiatis.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Payiatis. Boom. Look, I did my research. Okay, I don't mess around.
That's pretty
Nick,
good.
yeah, I know, 10 out of 10. The way Nick and I met, it's pretty funny because I joked about it because the other day my girlfriend asked me how we met, and I was like, it's great being Jewish because it's great. This is going somewhere, I promise. It's great being
Okay.
Jewish because in winter break of 2018 into 2019, I went on a birthright trip, which for those that don't know, if you have any Jewish blood in you, you can apply for a free Israel trip. And I met an awesome group of guys and one terrible guy named Leland on this trip, and they're based in we called them the Midwest boys, because a lot of us there we didn't like Northwest people very much, but they made the exception, and girls. There was Hannah, Noah, all of them. Met them, and we stayed very close, and by complete coincidence, they actually relocated to Washington, D.C., and since we're based in Baltimore near D.C., I got to see them the past weekend because it was Hannah's birthday. So I met Nick through a mutual friend I met on this birthright trip. And it was really funny because like not much was going on and we were going back and forth, but I met Nick and we started talking, and I was really invested in the different type of work he does, because what Nick has achieved so far is what a lot of people, I feel, are either too insecure or very scared to pursue. So I'd love for you to kind of introduce yourself, and Nick, a little bit about your background, where you came from, and what you do now.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thanks guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure if it was apparent to Josh. I am actually not Jewish. Um,
Yeah, I knew you weren't Jewish. I use that as a joke.
okay, yeah, I tapped into the Jewish network, of course,
Mm.
and it's a great network to tap into. But my background, I would say, in terms of entrepreneurship. So first of all, my name is Nick Payiatis. I'm the founder of FLYR, content aggregation platform for content creators with a focus on live streamers. And then I also do consulting in e-commerce, analytics, and some work in the blockchain sphere. And I like to think my genesis started actually way back in high school when I worked for a newly opened canoe livery. And my boss there, who was the founder and the owner of the canoe livery, really gave me free reign to help develop the company and help serve customers. And that was probably my first taste of entrepreneurship and being able to own a product and a customer experience. And I couldn't get enough of it. And so throughout university at Ohio State, I was a part of an entrepreneurship program and constantly surrounded by people who started their own companies. And since I graduated, that's always been a pursuit of mine. I entered the workforce doing analytics for retail companies, specializing in e-commerce, retail, so Abercrombie and Victoria's Secret. And then from there, I decided to jump ship right around the time the pandemic started and launch what would become FLYR and develop the product myself. And so that's what I've been working on for the last year, and yeah, it's been a good journey.
When it comes, yeah, when it comes to you jumping ship there, was this premeditated even before COVID? Like in around January or February of 2020, were you like, maybe I should kind of be my own boss and do this now, or was it not syncing up at all? But then COVID created like a paradigm shift.
Yeah, that's a great question, and it was kind of happenstance and I guess serendipitous of how it happened. So basically that January, or I guess that February, I had the opportunity to work remote because I actually wanted to go learn to ski. And so I was kind of the guinea pig for the analytics department to test a remote worker. So I moved up from Columbus to Vermont for a month, and I was living out of Airbnb. And towards the end of
You were
that
living
month,
out of an Airbnb?
or a bed and breakfast actually, yeah. So I had a room in the bed and breakfast, owned by this awesome guy named Brian, who's in his late 60s, I'd say. And yeah, we just had a great time. he would share all his stories. And
It wasn't nightly rates though.
What?
Wasn't nightly rates.
No, it wasn't nightly rates. He was looking to shift to more like long-term tenants, and so that's how, yeah, I found him on. Did a lot of scavenging and was able to find him through Facebook, I believe.
Pretty good.
So it turned out towards the end of that month, the pandemic started and remote work started to be adopted by organizations, including Abercrombie, and no one was sure when people would go back into office, and they really wanted their workers to stay within the Columbus region during that time, or at least the Ohio region. And most people had, their leases and everything. And me, on the other hand, I kind of fell in love with the Northeast, and so I kind of asked if I could stay remote in the Northeast area, and they really wanted people to be in the area because the pending back in office date was, only 2 weeks out and continually being shifted away. And so,
Yep. It's this
Little
far.
did
This
we
far.
know.
Yeah,
Little did we know.
Yep.
around that time, I'd been like pondering over FLYR and everything and what would eventually become FLYR. And so I decided, hey, this is kind of a sign, I'm going to stay up here and pursue what I want to pursue. And they gave me their full support, and they were happy with my decision and everything. And yeah, so I ended up now in Boston, and yeah, just been enjoying it in the Northeast.
Wow. Abercrombie and Finch is a supportive company. You don't see that a lot, especially with the insecurity that kind of a lot of companies were able to mask it before COVID, but then once the layoffs started happening, there wasn't that unwavering support. You see it all the time. I want to rewind a lot here back to when you were at the canoe place. You did canoe sales.
Yeah, so a canoe livery is, I should look up the definition because I always say it and no one knows what it means, but my understanding is it's like a canoe shop and that basically supplies canoes to people on the river. So we rented canoes and kayaks out to people, and I would shuttle them down at the fresh age of 16, driving a bus with like 12 canoes on the backs and like a bunch of kayaks.
16. How did you get that gig at 16?
That's pretty good.
We were looking for workers at the time. I was like everyone else was in their 30s, and some of his buddies working there. And I think I was the only person in high school. And over the course of that year and the subsequent years, brought in more of my friends to work at the organization, and had a fair amount of success in terms of growth and everything and competition within the area. So, yeah.
What do you feel when you were at that age of 16 and 17? I know I personally had a lot of, it wasn't just your typical insecurities, right? Like I'm skinny or like I can't do this. It was a lot of insecurity about taking risks. The younger you are, the more risks you should take. So usually in your late, in your teens and early 20s, on paper, that's when you should be taking the most risk. But we end up seeing quite the opposite, especially with very helicopter parents or parents that have very traditional expectations of you. So I guess my question is, how were you raised upon the idea to create these opportunities, or were you not raised that way, but you found it yourself?
Yeah, that's a great question as well. And so my dad works with veterans. He works for the government, a part of the Veterans Association. My mom works in banking, and so they definitely were very much more in terms of like a career-oriented line. But my grandfather, my mother's father, was an entrepreneur himself within the Cincinnati area, delving into anything from like art to real estate development. And so I would say in terms of like a familial like inspiration.
We'll let it pass.
What?
I said we'll let it pass.
Yeah. Is that a word? That's a good.
That's probably right. I don't know.
Okay. But yeah, and then I think really, because I would say I hadn't thought about entrepreneurship. I definitely was in line towards the idea of engineering, and that's really what my career path was until that canoe liver job. And I think it was really just being empowered by the idea of uncertainty and the idea of ownership. Doug, the owner there, like he was one of the coolest guys I've ever met, and like he really, he trusted me as a 16-year-old to make those decisions, and
Wow.
often make mistakes that then I would have to fix myself. And so that ownership and that power is something I guess I kind of latched onto, and something I want to be able to have throughout my life.
Imagine if he wasn't that if Doug wasn't that way. I mean, just think of like just the slight behavior change that I don't know if you would be in the same spot or not, but that really just shows the power of being a leader to serve others and giving them the opportunity to take risks. But like most, that's not common. And look at what difference that D16 is such a fragment of your life. I mean, we could talk about your past all day, but I feel like there's a lot to cover here. So I want to dive a little into what I didn't understand as much, because we talked a lot about Flyer when I met you on Saturday in DC, and what I don't have a deep understanding of is your other consulting position. You said specifically crypto, right? Crypto is opening up the floodgates, but what type of how did you get into crypto, and how did you gain knowledge enough to get into consulting?
Yeah, sure. So the first time I guess I learned about cryptocurrency and blockchain technology was actually when I was working at Ohio State's patent office as a student. And one of the other people who was a full-time employee there was telling me about blockchain, and this was shortly before the 2017-2018 run-up.
Oh, the 2016 sweet spot?
Ooh.
Yeah, I think early 2017
Okay.
was when like I first learned about it, and I think what really struck a chord with me was cross-border transactions and the complexity within the financial system to like exchange currencies or create a deal like between two parties within different countries, and how blockchain technology could really simplify that to two individuals in a network, and that's saving like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and making that cost becomes cents. So that's really what struck me. And so venturing into the consulting space for that, I like to think of myself as a technologist and someone who knows how to plug and play, and not necessarily a developer. I know how to script stuff, but I would not be able to develop something fully on my own in terms of programs. So I love using GitHub, and so a friend of mine who wanted to launch a cryptocurrency centered around charity and supercar giveaways, which was very interested, or which a lot of people in the cryptocurrency space are interested in. He wanted to launch a cryptocurrency, and so he turned to me and was like, hey, do you think you could help me adapt some of the existing currencies out there, or the existing tokens out there, and help me launch my own? And so I was able to grab pieces from GitHub and then follow some tutorials and understand what was actually happening and help them launch from the technical side.
Wow.
So, yeah, and then today, I think what I'm very proud of is they donated over $185,000 and also given away 6 cars, including a Lamborghini and a Ferrari. So,
God damn.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind.
What
do you say?
what's the name of that coin?
Yeah, Karma Coin.
Ooh.
Karma with a C.
Oh, Karma with a C.
Yeah, and when he told me that, it did not register to me.
That's the most startup sounding thing I've heard in my life.
Yeah, and it's focused on car giveaways. Then I put 2 and 2 together and made a lot of sense. So yeah, and I have to give him all the credit for the success of the token itself, because I'm not involved in the coin from an operational standpoint. I've only done like the technical lifts for him in terms of helping him launch it and then manage the actual like behind the scenes.
Didn't you say you were plug and play though, instead of writing a script? So is there 2 different types of technical?
So the technical management of like a token like this, so a raffle charity token, there's not a lot of development that needs to go on with it at this point. As they want to build out applications, that's something I can help guide them with and help them figure out what type of developers they need to hire. But my specialty is not there in terms of developing applications in Solidity.
So what consulting type work do you do now? Like, what would be an
Uh,
example
in space.
in the crypto space?
Yeah, crypto. So there have been other people since the launch of that token who have been interested in launching, similar tokens
Oh,
that operate on the same basis. And so I help advise them, and I also help other people launch similar tokens within that realm. Yeah.
we we saw another uptick earlier this year and last year with Ethereum, right? I joked about earlier this year how my tattoo costed $600, but it didn't actually cost $600. It costed $60. Um, this baby right here.
You pay for it with Ethereum?
No, I didn't pay for it with Ethereum. The way this story is going is I actually went in June of 2017. I put in about, how much did I put in? Like $20 in Ethereum. I knew about it. Even graduating high school, like 2016, dude. I mean, you know the price of Ethereum June of 2016. Any lucky person that did that and came out, they're set for life. But and I know talking about it right here with you with so much insight, it's kind of insulting because I'm just talking about it as an investment tool. But that's just alone, even for that outside reason, that money. So I put it in that account, and then I went on. There was an impulsive trip me and a few friends did to drive to Asheville, North Carolina, and I didn't plan on getting the tattoo until the 6-hour car ride. Nick, you talk about ideas. Hey, why not? Why not? So it was getting hyped up, and I always did want to get like a tattoo with the Chi symbol. So I realized I was a broke college student, and the tattoo was going to cost $60, and I had $40 in my bank account. Of course, not including like essentials for gas and stuff. So where did I pull that from? Oh, this Ethereum thing, it's going nowhere. It's actually down this month. Time to pull it all out. And I even told myself I would never take money out of that. I checked it months later, it's zero. And I actually forgot that I used it, so I was excited in the boom last year. I was like, God damn. Of course. Most expensive tattoo ever.
Unlucky.
Yeah, so it's certainly a big investment vehicle, but my question is, there's also a big trend with creating new cryptos. And NFTs just involve Ethereum, but everyone's jumping into the space now. And as you know, when a lot of people jump into a market space, only 1% or 2% is going to be successful. So how can you tell if someone wants to start a cryptocurrency or like a token? Like, I don't know if the goal is to always get more valuable and to gain traction, but what's the biggest reason you see people doing it that they shouldn't be? Like, what's the biggest false flag when it comes to starting crypto?
Yeah, so I think a lot of tokens that are being launched, they come with the idea of, generational wealth, or like this idea of people asking like, when am I going to get my Lamborghini? And so for me, when it comes to these tokens that may not necessarily have the type of technology to support adoption of them, the importance to me is the idea that they're doing good for the world, and that they actually are not like just pumping up scams where the people who are launching them are getting really wealthy while leaving everyone else in the dust. And so that's probably the most important thing I look for when talking to individuals, is that stakeholders that are involved, that is who they have in their best interest. And when they're launching these tokens, the value in them is helping other individuals, because there are a lot of currencies, like you said, that will not survive. And just like in the dot-com boom, which of course I was too young to remember, but like you hear stories of a lot of these companies like becoming like ridiculously overvalued, and then ultimately there's no technology there. I think we will see that with a lot of these tokens and a lot of these currencies. And as long as there's good being done with them in the meantime, that's what matters and is most important to me.
Before I ask, do you have a deep understanding of smart contracts and EFTs?
EFTs?
EFT or ET, is it? Yeah, it's EFTs, right?
NFTs?
And did I say NFT? Oh my God. Okay, I was thinking investing and stuff. Jesus Christ. Okay, NFTs. So smart contracts, NFTs.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with those two technologies.
Would you mind giving an explain like I'm five version of what NFTs are. I know that could be challenging, but explain it as simply as possible, and then kind of describe what your view is when it comes to the future of NFTs. If it's overhyped or if it's just not the right time.
Yeah, sure. And I think this will fit really well into this podcast because at this point in time, NFTs, I think, do a great job of utilizing blockchain in terms of creating a digital receipt tied to some type of digital asset or tokenizing a physical asset such as a property. And basically, it utilizes that blockchain technology so you can see who the owner is, but also you can attribute portions of that ownership back to the creator. So one of the reasons why this is so attractive to the art world is there's no value in resale to the original creator of the piece, whereas using NFTs and blockchain technology, they can actually capture a portion of that resale value if they code it into their NFT. So if you sell something for $100 originally, but you have that resale like capture of 10%, and it gets resold, for $1,000. That original creator can still benefit off of that. And then in terms of relation to this podcast, I think one space we'll really see NFTs blow up is in the gaming space and digitizing or making supply more important within the gaming space. So with releases of objects or releases of skins within games, like creating those on an NFT or like in NFT form is a great way to make sure like they can't be duplicated. And integrating gaming systems into the blockchain would enable that.
Aren't skins and assets in video games inherently NFTs? Isn't that the idea of like helping people understand what the hell NFTs are? Oh, it's kind of like skins to own in a game.
Yeah. So that's definitely one great way to explain it in terms of where is the value derived from? Because I think our parents often ask that as like, hey, how can you value a digital asset? I think a better and so I think when it turns to skins, you can very easily turn to skins and show people are buying these digital products for their characters because they're spending a lot of time and like this is a whole new portion of their lives that our parents may not have experienced. So yeah, in that regard, it is like a great example. How it lacks the fundamentals of blockchain is if the organization wants to turn around and later re-release that skin and make it not as valuable, like then that would drive down the price of the value of that skin. NFTs would prevent that. So you basically would create a digital release of a certain number of copies, and it would be transacted. When it would change hands, it would transact on the blockchain. And an organization such as Epic Games could not re-release the same exact skin, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And, we could talk about NFTs all day. The way I view it really is right now where NFTs stand. I certainly believe that digital smart contracts eventually will become the future because really owning something, there's even talk of owning real estate digitally through NFTs, meaning my physical address here, I own it, but maybe not digitally, right? Like an entire geographic world. It's kind of weird, but my point being, not every average Joe can make a quick buck off of NFTs because it's tied to a brand. You already have to have some type of recognition or success for people, like you said, to value what it is, especially for video games. Like you said, when companies re-release skins, people buy them because they play the game a lot. Your time, even if you're playing a free game, like League of Legends or Overwatch isn't free, never mind, but free games where you get content, you're putting in time. Now, shifting gears a bit, I know you talked about how you brought your idea of, it was just an idea on paper and you brought it to reality. Now you have a lot of people like large streamers in the Discord. First of all, getting this idea into reality, like what was your process from idea to execution? Was it getting the people first? And we'll use Flyer as an example, your app. Is it getting the people first? Was it doing complete coding first? Was it marketing? Like, what was the steps?
Yeah, sure. So I think a lot of the reason why I pursued Flyer was from my experience at Abercrombie in working in some affiliate campaigns. So conducting analytics on content creators or influencers and the money they're generating through sales. And one trend I noticed was a lot of these content creators were amassing large followings on TikTok, but that was not converting to dollar values in terms of ad revenue, which we have traditionally seen like on platforms like YouTube. And so to me, this is an issue for content creators because not only does TikTok require you to make content at like a very rapid pace, especially in short form, but two, like you aren't being paid fairly for the value of the content you're putting out. Whereas if you go to a platform like Twitch or YouTube, some would argue you still aren't getting that value, but a viewer is worth a lot more on those platforms. And so if you think about a viewer being the I guess the revenue you're trying to generate, they're worth a lot more on a platform like Twitch or YouTube. So you should use TikTok as a high level marketing tactic and convert them to your other channels where you're more likely to capture and make revenue on. And so coming from a digital analytics background, one of the very important things is a funnel. So a sales funnel. How's a customer going through the Abercrombie site to convert on a product? And if you think about content and subscriber or follower capture, it should be very much the same way as a content creator. So you should be looking at TikTok or Instagram as these low revenue, high follower platforms at the top of the funnel, and then you need to convert your follower to Twitch or YouTube.
Really? I've always viewed, first of all, EJ, I have a question. Do you use TikTok?
I religiously every single day.
Really?
Yeah.
I always view that TikTok is kind of a coin flip for us 23-year-olds of whether you were at that generational line, whether you use it or view it like too cool for school.
Oh no, I'm on it. I got to keep up with all my favorite like Disney stars from when I was growing up, you know. So I'm following both like the Sprouse twins, and honestly, that's it.
I need to follow them right now. I don't know how.
Yeah, you gotta get on that, dude.
That I thought it was the complete opposite, Nick. Not opposite, because I know TikTok is amazing for discovery. It's probably the only, outside of LinkedIn, funny enough, the only organic reach platform. And YouTube Shorts are looking to become that as well. But organic reach is really hard now, as you imagine, because, and for those that don't know, organic reach is getting other people to see your content through, once you share something, someone likes it, and then that brings it to someone else. Facebook used to be this way where your content would spread very quickly just through viralness, but now it's more controlled because of ads. And same with Instagram. And I would say, Nick, if you agree, Snapchat even. However, TikTok and LinkedIn now are very organic, where you can actually, like, I have friends that blew up and got 1 million views on their second post. Like, as opposed to YouTube, I was going to ask you this, Nick, because I actually haven't gotten on TikTok yet. I made one TikTok with an Obama impersonation in December. And that alone, got 400 views, but from no followers. But I've been focusing my efforts on YouTube. And to me, from what you said, it sounds like YouTube can still be great for growth, but you want to already have a decent audience. So is YouTube not a great start from nothing platform?
So I think you can start on any of the platforms. I think to me, the importance, like for any content creator, is the idea of utilizing multiple platforms and understanding how they should work, because your product ultimately is yourself and the content you're creating. So each platform should behave a little bit differently. So in terms of starting, you can choose which platform you want to start on. If you're purely trying to monetize the content you create, I would say you should start on YouTube or Twitch, because that's where you're going to earn the most money. In terms of growth, again, turn something like TikTok. In terms of brand recognition, I would say Instagram. That's where you want to build out your curated content, or like your branded content, where they can go and say, hey, who's Josh? On Instagram, that's where they're going to see that. And so that's how I would treat the different platforms. So depending on where you want to grow and what you want your audience to look like, really comes down to what you want.
on behalf of all 25 plus year old viewers listening, is there any other way besides TikTok to organically grow from nothing? Or, I mean, I know you can grow from anywhere, but like the best.
Yeah, sure. So I think Twitter is another great platform in terms of viral growth.
Oh yeah.
Personally, especially the informalness of it. But I do also think there's a stigma around TikTok in terms of utilization. There's actually a very large, mid to late 20s and
I agree.
millennial on demographic on TikTok that actually goes underserved in terms of content. So they actually are not being given enough content for their age group. So if anything, you should use TikTok for that reason. Hashtag sponsored by TikTok.
Yep, I can't believe you're a shill the whole time and you never told
I
us.
know.
Yeah.
God.
I agree with nearly everything that you've said up until this point. Like, it's all been very insightful. But I think that I like the TikTok thing, the Twitter thing, 100% agree. I think that they're really good, just like platforms to start out on. But I think that Twitch is one of those platforms where you need to just be big somewhere else, to get anybody viewing you. You know. But I think that every other app is a very good starting place, honestly.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that, and I'm glad you said that because that's pretty much the core problem Flyer I originally wanted to address with Flyer. Is I saw a lot of these gamers on TikTok that had hundreds of thousands, if not millions of followers, and they streamed, but their streaming, their viewership when it came to streaming, their followers or subscribers lacked incredibly. And one of the reasons why I believe that is so, and Flyer so far is proving this hypothesis true, is that conversion funnel from, hey, how do I get my followers from TikTok to Twitch? And so it's been a very antiquated process, and that's something Flyer I want to address with Flyer. I want to help content creators reach further and be able to address a larger audience.
That really is a real problem right now, and it's hurting so many people because you brought up having a multifaceted approach, or you could say modality approach, LOL. I know, I'm gonna stop. Having different platforms is so important because you have all these great personalities on Twitch that aren't getting an audience, so they can't convert. If they had an audience, they would convert. But you have the TikTokers, and it's hard. Even if you're like, for example, I'm aware of this problem, but I don't do that enough. It takes a lot of manpower to run all these platforms, constantly post content. I'm still figuring out how we're going to do it. Like, I'm literally going in Sony Vegas and editing highlights from these podcasts, and it takes 30 minutes of rendering per highlight. And it's not a bad process. It's fun, but there needs to be a way, especially as a Twitch streamer, decent audience to do that. Now, I actually put together, I don't know if I told you yet, but I made a Modality Flyer. Do you check your users who make flyers?
I have not this week / this weekend because I just got home from camping.
Okay.
But I'm very glad you did that, and I would love to hear about your customer and user experience.
Hey, so this is it. Oh wait, no, you don't see it yet. I'm gonna share a Discord screen. 1 second. Nope. I will hide that in post. And can I share a screen? Nope. How about this? I'm just going to send it to you. And then I will put it on the screen when I edit this. Or if you're listening through audio, look up, here it is, FLYR.pro /@/modality. And Flyer is spelled FLYR. What do you say?
Oh, it is a very clean looking, just, I guess piece of work. Yeah, it looks very nice.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate that.
There's really few things that I think this helps address uniquely, because certainly, let's talk about competition to Flyer to help with people understanding it better. And I think talking confidently and optimistically about competition just shows great character. That's what you did when we were at the party. You didn't disparage Linktree. You didn't disparage other, call them competitors, but I think this really solves a unique problem that they don't, which is really let me know when you guys see the flyer. But really, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're looking into bringing a personality to these pages. And a personality doesn't mean slapping on a bunch of MySpace looking ass type like graphics and GIFs and music playing in the background of Toxic by Britney Spears. It's literally just having, here's my links, here's what we do, and here's a clip of some amazing shit that happened. Like a 30-second clip. It's genius. And it doesn't dive into having the actual website either, because a website, it can be overwhelming for a specific purpose. So a question I have, I don't know if you see here, but what would you do differently with my page? Like if you were in charge of the Modality Gaming Podcast flyer, what would you put on here to bring interest or to represent the brand better?
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm looking at your profile right now, and I see that you use the standard gradient background. So you could customize that by adding an image in the background. In terms of pop, I think that's one of the best things a user can do with their profile to make it really stand out. Another thing I would say is embedding different links. So I see at the top you have all your social media links. Below that, that's normally where people would put, hey, check out, my affiliate deal here. Go check out my friend's Twitch streaming channel. You can also embed content. So you could actually embed one of the Modality podcasts on Spotify into the list underneath the social icon. And then you could also embed, a TikTok video that you posted advertising the upcoming Modality episode. Additionally, let's say you decide to start streaming these interviews on Twitch. You could actually add your Twitch, Modality Twitch channel up on the top below the email and below the social links, and have it appear only when you guys are actually streaming.
Wow. Okay.
And so I think that's one of the best pieces of value, because when you aren't streaming, you can actually have an alternative and have a YouTube video populate the same place where that Twitch stream window would go. And so I think in terms of conversion, that's what I really wanted to address in terms of the competitors is, hey, Linktree or Solo2, it actually adds an extra step to get to your Twitch or YouTube, because they have to click that profile, then they have to click one of the links. Instead here, if you're live streaming, you're immediately engaged in the Twitch window or the Twitch stream. And if you aren't streaming, you're immediately engaged in their YouTube video. And so removing that step from the sales funnel or the conversion funnel helps increase, follower and subscriber capture.
That's really how you would get an audience. You could have a potential someone who's excited. Just removing steps and making the rule of capitalism. Make things easier, people will come. Make the process easier for what we want to do, and that's amazing. I mean, Nick, this is something that's just super, I would personally use it, and if I build my personal Twitch more, this is something that's great. And I didn't even plan on making one. I wasn't trying to do this to be dramatic and impress you, because I impressed you already on Saturday because I beat you in beer pong. Or no, you didn't. Okay, I lost, but no one's gonna know that. I'll edit that out in post. Okay. So I was curious though. We talked earlier in the podcast about a lot of the insecurities and things that could go wrong. Is there one thing you wish you knew before going into Flyer? Is there something you wish that you knew, and specifically Flyer, because I know you learned a lot from previous experiences.
Yeah, that's a good question. One thing that I wish I knew going into Flyer, I guess in terms of entrepreneurship in general, and especially tech entrepreneurship, it's one thing to have a product and a product that's working. It's another thing to be able to market that at scale efficiently. So one thing that people never really talk about in terms of technology startups and SaaS startups is reason why you see these huge Series A and Series B round is oftentimes a lot of that goes to a marketing budget and being able to run paid advertising. And so as a solo founder who is using my own budget to fund this project, that's often where I have to get the most creative. because I don't have hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to dump into um, to paid advertising, hoping that I capture an audience that either then I can pitch to investment firms, or I can figure out how to monetize later on. So getting creative with that audience capture and user sign up is something I've really had to become attuned to and figure out myself.
What I'm also hearing is to have a budget, like have a decent budget.
Yeah, I would say in terms of like a digital product, yes, because that's probably one of the hardest things. And coming from a marketing background, I thought I had an idea of. I was trying to make sure I had 20% always set aside for marketing, and that's something entrepreneurs and creators forget about. You know, you often forget about marketing is actually a part of the product, because it's a part about the consumer experience, the purchasing experience, and how the consumer is first going to interact with any type of product.
Certainly, certainly. And what advice, if you could give one piece of advice to someone that wants to start a company from an idea piece of paper, and more specifically want to become self-employed, what would you tell them if they don't know where to start just to become self-employed?
Yeah, I think my first thing I would tell people to do is whenever someone comes up with an idea, right, they think it's great, and especially if it doesn't address a need they have themselves. So if you can, find an issue that you have yourself and address that need. If you can't, you need to talk to consumers. You need to talk to the people who would use the product and get something in their hands. Even if it's a very like sketched out like user interface or like app wireframe, that's fine. You need to get that in consumers' hands and figure out if that's what they're addressing. I think the other piece that I would highlight would be execution. There's graphics all over the internet. You can look it up about what an idea is worth versus what an idea and execution is worth. Ideas, especially, and even good ideas, are a dime a dozen, but being able to execute and not be afraid to execute, that's what's really hard, and that's something I struggle with every day, and I've tried to get better at every single day.
You said something that resonated with me so hard, and that's the researching the market need is the single most important step and will foundation everything. Because a need is a need. Going to the basic biological level, we make things easier. We create things that we need to survive, and then once we do that, make it simple and easy. And a lot of people think they want what's best for other people, but have too much of an ego to do the market research. And a lot of time, I'm sure I've been guilty of this at one point, not wanting to believe that this problem may not exist as strong as it does. And that market research is so valuable. And of course, execution can be very different than market research. There's a lot of great movie ideas that that ended up horribly. I'm sure EJ can think of some. I can't think of any specifically, but
That's the musical.
Oh yeah, you remember Quibi?
Quibi.
Oh my god.
What happened with Quibi, Nick?
If I recall, and EJ, tell me if I'm wrong, Quibi was the social media platform that was short form 10 to 15 minute videos that were sponsored by a bunch of celebrities and a bunch of networks, that was released during COVID, and eventually
I remember.
flopped.
Oh yeah, that is 100% right. It was so bad. It lasted like maybe 8 months. It was a dumpster fire.
Was it live at all? EJ, did they go out of beta, like actually?
Yeah, they did. They launched in like 2020 in like April.
Wow, during COVID, they still flopped?
Yeah.
An idea like that?
It was so bad. Because like, I feel like they're targeting like the TikTok demographic where like you can't watch videos for longer than like 3 minutes, you know? But like, they're not going to pay for a subscription to watch like 10-minute videos, you know? Like, it's just, that's not the right market for it. So it was very bad. It was very, very bad.
Imagine like sitting down with the boys, getting all the popcorn ready, and then you're about to watch Quibi. Like that word sucks.
Yeah.
They $7 billion in celebrity budgets will not save an awful name.
I think one of the most unfortunate things, because some of the series on the Quibi app when it was released, they had very large stars involved with it, but all of it was shot in
Oh
one
yeah.
format, like on your phone. So actually, none of these networks could recycle it to like their actual network, and basically they had to throw away all that content.
That's true.
It's a tragedy.
It really does come down to the goodness of the content. My question, Nick, in terms of, I imagine you have a good idea of the streaming market. Is Twitch going to stay king?
Yeah, so that is a good question, and that's something I'm thinking about on a daily basis because a lot of the streamers I work with are switching to platforms like YouTube, and I think it really is going to come down to how well Twitch is able to interact with their audiences and how well they're able to gauge feedback. And they do have the advantage of being focused on the streaming network versus YouTube. You have to account for, now YouTube Shorts and regular like YouTube videos, and but then that being said, YouTube has an infinite budget, so I guess at this point Twitch does too. But I do hear of a lot of streamers switching to YouTube just because of the value they can offer over Twitch.
The sad part is, a lot of that, sometimes when you have a new upcoming platform you think will be big. I think the big reason Quibi failed was they thought throwing money at stuff will make it work. Now, if you recall Mixer, I'm sure both of you remember Mixer, a Facebook-built streaming platform. Was it Facebook or Microsoft or one of those?
Microsoft.
Yeah, it was Microsoft, because Mixer was interesting because it seemed to kind of gain a following, and then it seemed to really kind of gain a following when, was it Ninja who was going to be strictly Mixer?
Oh yeah, they bought Ninja for like millions of dollars.
That's some like alternate timeline stuff. Like
It was insane.
Mixer signed Ninja, and then Ninja left Mixer, and then Mixer failed. Like, it's really interesting as an entrepreneur such as yourself, Nick, because you can really dissect like because a thing like Mixer, a common consumer can't tell if things will go wrong, like predicting the stock market crashing. Like, you have to really know your shit, and you have to know the market to a T, because I don't see it. Like, if you told me Mixer was doing well and gaining a market, like, I wouldn't have a reason not to believe you. Nothing sticks out as a red flag. Like, hey, Ninja signed with Mixer, but you never know what's going on behind the scenes there. So yeah, I agree. Like, Twitch may meet its match, but right now I think it's also the convenience and the interface. It just works great. But yeah, no, you've given some really interesting insights so far, and it sounds like you're really going to continue to work hard on this, and I'm just so excited for you, and I'm so excited for everything that's going to be, because the market is prime right now for something like this, and I think that challenge is still being faced every day and will continue to be faced, especially the one that Flyer addresses. But I was also going to look over a crypto article here with Twitch real quick, if you don't mind. So I'm going to send the article to you, and I'm also going to share the screen. I found it interesting. It kind of appeals to what you were looking at. So it's about crypto. I'm going to send it in the Discord chat.
And while you're sending that, so Flyer actually does have capabilities right now for you to Twitch, for you to tip a content creator if they add their Ethereum wallet.
Oh, I saw that.
So yeah, we're trying to go crypto native and allow people to adopt cryptocurrencies into the value they're creating and earning.
Certainly, and there's also there's always the pushback when it comes to, especially with crypto gambling. This article talks about Twitch streamers rake in millions with a shady crypto gambling boom on Wired. It says the company says it is closely monitoring gambling content, but legal experts told Wired that some promotions may be illegal. It's interesting to see this, because I know a lot of situations where, I know in Japan, for example, it's a big problem, kind of gambling over and over again. Nick, do you think a line should be drawn there, or do you think this is a false alarm?
So what? Can you give me another summary real quick?
Yeah, this talks a little bit about where is it? There it is. This talks about hitting slots in terms like virtually. So, here's the thing. If you visit a stake on a US-based browser, a message will quickly pop up on the site. Due to our gaming license, we cannot accept players in the United States. And though the United States doesn't have a problem promoting these gambling sites, in some areas and countries, it is allowed. So essentially, they're allowing crypto casinos, right, Nick? So you purchase cryptos like Bitcoin, Ethereum, and this says used for digital games like slots, blackjacks, baccarat, if I said that right. And it's becoming more available, and I think that's like this is a very strange niche that you could use that for. But I think a lot of the pushback comes from in terms of the streamers, like the 21% of the viewers between 13 and 17. Can you see this being an issue?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, and I think that's why the U.S. has been so careful to allow online gambling in general. I think cryptocurrency has kind of created a loophole for that because it's almost like a proxy to allow people to gamble online without using real U.S. fiat. And so, of course, this is an issue, and I know gambling can impact lots of people and lots of families. So yeah, I think it's definitely a real issue.
Yeah, it's funny. I bring that up because the cross section between Twitch and crypto it actually reminded me because I saw you accept crypto on your site, which is awesome. And I think that's the only, when you start an initiative, you have to be ready for pushback. And I think that's really it's very niche. And, personal responsibility is very important here. But I just saw that and thought it was very interesting. But I appreciate all the value you gave. You gave so much value today, and I really appreciate it. And to kind of wrap this up here, I figured we'd do a little lightning round and get to know the real side of Nick a little more. You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right, let's go, baby. All right.
I do have a handful of questions prepared as well.
Oh yeah. See, EJ. You got to be careful for EJ, Nick. Okay, he's gonna come out with the wild cards. You're really not gonna. This isn't gonna be your apples and oranges type deal. Okay. EJ's been in the lab. EJ, have you been wearing the lab coat and all that shit? Getting that
Oh,
ready?
I got on my goggles, dude. I'm protected from glass and chemicals.
And chemical, yeah. Watch out. So first of all, I'm gonna give you a few here. Actually, EJ, let's bounce back each other. Okay, bounce off each other.
Okay.
All right. Pineapple on pizza.
Yes.
Oh.
What? Hey, wait, Nick, do you mind deafening yourself real quick for a second? It's just real quick. I need to ask EJ something real quick.
Go.
Yeah, real quick. EJ, we can't have him again. This is disgusting.
I no longer trust any of his advice.
Wait, how did he pass? Like, how do we even accept him? What? He's crazy. Anyway,
Here's redemption. He can redeem himself.
You're right. Yeah, no. Okay, you can undeaf now. Yeah. Sorry, we just had to there was some technical kink there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you're stuck on an island, yeah? And you can only bring one kitchen gadget with you. What do you got?
Oh man, probably a knife set. Does that count?
That's a really good answer. I was gonna say slap chop.
Ooh, I mean, pretty much the same thing, but 21st century, so that might be the better choice.
Wait, what's slap chop?
You know about slap chop. It's that as seen on TV gadget where you slap it and then it chops the food.
Wait, what? Oh my god, it's with the advertising guy? Hold up.
Yeah, it's with the guy who beat up that one hooker in Florida.
Oh, this guy. Hold up. No way. Wait, I thought he only advertised what's that one thing that cleans everything?
I'll do the ShamWow.
ShamWow. There's that classic sketch, where he's in ShamWow jail, or he's in jail selling ShamWow prisoners.
Classic bit.
Oh my god, that guy's a crackhead. All right. Question: Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
I'll accept it.
You'll accept it?
Support.
Okay, I wasn't gonna ask you to. I don't know if you heard. I wasn't gonna ask you to deafen yourself or anything. That's crazy. No.
Okay. Mangoes or pears?
Repeat that.
Would you mangoes or pears?
Oh, mangoes.
The correct answer was neither.
Neither.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, come on, man. Mangoes. Really?
You don't like mangoes?
I like mangoes, but actually, I'm gonna be completely honest. I was just joking there. Mangoes are good. I'd pick them over pears because what does a pear taste? Does anyone eat pears?
No.
Shout out to all the pairs. That's what Rick Ross.
Shout out to all the pairs. Now, I think Rick Ross is the only person. That's probably why he had to shout out the pears, because so little people eat pears.
Well, I don't think that's it.
Big Pear was paying him.
Yeah.
No, I don't understand the metaphor that he used for pears, but yeah, no one eats pears. Let's see here. So, are you binge watching any shows on Netflix or HBO TV?
I've been keeping up with Dave,
Ooh.
Lil Dicky show.
I need to watch season 2. I heard that. Listen, my friend who actually just moved in today, he said that season 2 wasn't as good as season 1.
I've heard people say that, but I don't know. It's been hitting me right here. So I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I just love Lil Dicky. He's just like, he takes himself the least seriously of any musical artist, and that became his brand. He's so meta, because then he also jokes about that's his brand and that he doesn't like that, ironically. EJ, you would love Lil Dicky.
I only know his one song about Earth, and that's the extent of all my knowledge.
No, that should not be the only song you know about Lil Dicky.
It's too bad.
I think you would like him because you're on like 6 layers of irony at all times, EJ, and he's like 7.5.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've been sincere my entire life. I've never been ironic once.
Wait, let me count how many so I can know if that's serious or not. 1 layer. Hey, you're being sarcastic.
No.
Anyway, EJ, your turn.
Okay, this is kind of an open forum question. What is the worst movie of the 2000s?
Chicken Little.
Chicken Little?
Wow.
Is that what you said?
Chicken Little.
Insane. That's insane.
Yeah, I don't know. I really was not too big of a fan of the Ice Age series.
Yeah,
but
that was pretty bad.
That's a hot take we can agree with.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was bad. And we're both listing animated features. I can't really... I guess an Adam Sandler movie in the 2000s would work.
Adam Sandler, I respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, but he's living his best.
No, I respect him a lot. And even the bad movies I can find entertaining. But if we're talking just bad quality movies, this just... Like, I respect his grind. He's had a lot of good... He's talented. He's had a lot of great movies. But there's just so... Like, Grown Ups. I watched Grown Ups, too, earlier today.
Oh, no.
The question is, why were you watching that?
Okay,
Yeah.
I have an excuse. I was moving and I needed something mindless in the background, and I put on my TV.
God.
First thing that came on. But Grown Ups 2, if anyone that's interested, that's probably in terms of structure, just the worst film I've ever seen. Each scene feels like a random Family Guy cutaway gag. It's just something extremely random, and then for the sake of plot, it maybe shows them walking somewhere. And then their jokes just revolve around butt and poop jokes and things not making sense. It's the yeah.
Can you give me an example? I never watched the movie.
There's literally a scene where by the way, like, it does this so much because there's barely a plot, where all the girls are in a room doing yoga, and the instructor comes in, or he looks like the instructor, and he's like, all right, time to stretch your butt, and then they all stretch their butt. He's like, now slap your butt, and then they slap their butt, and he's laughing, and then the real instructor comes in and says, hey, I'm the real instructor, get out, and then all the girls are like, yeah, get out. And then the kid goes up, there's like a random 2-year-old kid that hasn't shown up yet, goes up and bites the guy's pants. And like, this is, listen, I could enjoy me some Family Guy, but this is a completely different level of nonsensical stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
EJ, did you go yet?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh yeah, worst
did
of the
go.
2000s. All right, here's my last lightning round question. What is the single most important quality for entrepreneurship in one word?
Single most important quality is probably perseverance. I'd say on a daily basis, like being able to get up and like do the same thing and things you don't want to do day after day to achieve the goal, either to work for yourself or accomplish something else for the greater good. Perseverance would have to be it.
Awesome, that's a really great answer. I would say personally, honestly, I was gonna say tenacity because it's very similar in terms of actually. Like, perseverance is having the habits in place, and then tenacity is not letting insecurities or thoughts or people or places interfere with what you're doing.
Yeah, I like that too.
Certainly. Hey, and Nick, it's been incredible having you on. Like, so much value. We'd love to have you on again sometime. This has been so fun, and so many topics we glossed over just for the sake of time. So definitely room to dive back. But what's a way people can connect with you and stay up to date with FLYR? the stream marketing app.
Yeah, sure. So you can find Flyer on Twitter. It's FLYR.pro_. That's probably where most of the updates will come up. If you sign up for Flyer, you will also get email updates about new features we're adding. Yeah, and I just want to say thank you, EJ, thank you, Josh. This has been so much fun. And for anyone interested in trying the Flyer platform, I'd highly suggest it. To me, the most important thing is helping content creators reach further and be able to live out their goals of streaming for a living. So that's the priority I'm putting first for the Flyer platform. And that's the first thing I consider every morning when I wake up and decide what type of features I want to add, what direction we want to head as an organization, and where our future is. So yeah, I hope you guys get an opportunity to check out the Flyer platform, and hopefully we can grow together.
Yep. Check out Flyer. EJ, any other comments?
Honestly, good talk, guys. Good talk.
Good huddle. And
Huddle.
and it's been great having you, Nick. And like I said, this was incredible. And check out Flyer, guys. Just check out Flyer. That's my words. All right. Thanks for listening to Modality, everyone. Tune in episode 3 on Wednesday with Owen Weiss. We'll be right back here, same spot. EJ still cooking up those questions, and we'll see you then. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.